It's a God thing. Come on, it's a God thing. It's a God thing. Let the whole world know Jesus is real. He's real. It's a God thing. It's a God thing. Share your testimony. Hallelujah.
Make it famous.
Welcome to another episode of It's a God Thing. Today, our guest, Luis Castillo, had a supernatural encounter with God, and he will tell you how he was changed by the fire. Hey guys, welcome to It's a God Thing. With me, I have my very dear friend, Luis Castillo. Luis, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone.
Luis has an amazing testimony, and before I let him kind of just share his life story, Luis, I remembered our church, our former church. We've been going to the same church for years, and you got the opportunity to share your testimony. And I had known you before, and I remembered I was just bawling listening to your story and thinking, God, you are just so awesome that you can take a person like that in his mess and just do what he does now. And of course, I seen the aftermath of your beautiful family and who you guys are, but I definitely thought this is definitely one of those stories that it's a God thing, because only God can do such a thing.
Amen.
So, Luis, take us back to your childhood.
My childhood, I was born in Puerto Rico, lived there till I was about 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We moved from there to Bridgeport, Connecticut, lived there till I was about 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. So you have both parents with you?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have mom, dad, hardworking dad, hardworking mom. We lived in Bridgeport, and then from Bridgeport we moved to Orlando, Florida in 1986,
Mm-hmm.
and been here ever since.
Okay, awesome. Now, when did your trouble lifestyle start, and how did it begin?
My troubles started here in Orlando, actually.
Okay.
It was very rough when we moved here.
Mm-hmm.
We moved to an area where it was mainly predominantly white, and so we had a lot of issues growing up with, having to defend ourselves. And there weren't really many of us,
Right.
as far as Hispanics here. When I moved here
So
in
that was like a
86,
really long time. What year was that?
86.
86. Oh yeah, that's a long
yeah,
time.
Hiawassee
Okay.
was all orange groves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, which is so opposite now.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
And
So,
so I started growing a lot of resentment, and hatred started coming in at that point with that issue. And then my parents loved each other, and my father worked hard, my mother worked hard, but they fought, and that also built something inside where, I built resentment, and so I guess from there on, all the way until I got to high school, then I started hanging around with the crowd and starting to learn about the things to do in the streets, and started off with weed and then progressed. One thing that I want to share is, the drugs, they actually talk to you. Because I remember I would sit there and be bagging it and weighing it, and it would tell me, try it.
wow.
See what everybody else is experiencing.
Wow.
See what it makes you feel like. And so it really does talk to you. From what I remember, this guy used to tell me when he used to bring up this stuff from Miami, they would go to the house of a santero, and the santero would supposedly bless the drugs, so that whoever was trafficking it or bringing it up wouldn't have an issue bringing it up. So he was actually adding curses. So every time you're doing these things, those things already have a curse on it. And so as you're partaking of it, from what I know now, you're allowing even more demonic activity into your life.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
And you could tell, that's how they do it. The cartels do it. If you really look at it now, that's what they do.
That's crazy. I didn't actually learn something new today.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Which explains what damage it really does when people sometimes think that, oh, you know, I'm smoking a joint, it's just weed, it's nothing, whatever, and little things add up and it can be bad.
Yeah, it opens you up.
So the great thing is that God still had his hand on you. So even though what the enemy meant for wrong, God turned it around for good.
Amen.
So now you're married, you have a little girl.
Yeah.
You have the best marriage, right, at that time? What did you tell me about your marriage?
No.
No, why? Why not? What happened?
Well, I, you know, like every man reaches a point when you're like frustrated, you're not making the money that you used to, you're having issues of keeping up with bills and this and that, and so you get frustrated, and I just started to, like, I gotta go back, and so I started with weed again, and I started trying to sell weed again.
Sell it and take it? Or
Sell it and take it, yes.
Okay.
And
And your wife, did she know this?
she didn't know, but she always had a way of finding out. She
Well,
always, as much as I tried to hide it, she will always find out.
Wow.
And so that, because I was always trying to do that, that would cause friction.
Mm-hmm.
I never laid a hand on my wife, but verbally, I was very abusive.
Mm-hmm.
I was very abusive because I wanted to get mine. I wanted to be with her, but I wanted to do my own thing too.
Right.
And it
wasn't working out.
No, it wasn't. Like everything else, until
Right.
if you don't get rid of that,
Yes.
if you don't get set free from it,
That's right.
you come back to it.
So I want to take you to that point because it's so good that you said that. You know that you tried what you tried.
Yeah.
And in your own strength, you couldn't do
I
it.
couldn't do it.
Okay, so what I know too, you guys had a very rocky marriage.
Yeah.
She was very unhappy.
Yeah.
Not a happy wife, but she did love you.
Yep.
And she did have faith.
Yeah.
And she prayed.
Yes,
And she had faith that God was going to do something.
Yes, she did.
So one day, take us to this point where, and this is the wild story about this.
Just went to where I usually go, and I told the guys, "Hey, y'all have some weed?" Yeah. Just park over there. So I parked, and as I parked, 3 guys came walking to me. I didn't think anything of it. I'm used to it, you know. So one guy walks to look like he's getting the stuff while I'm talking to the other 2. When he comes back and I'm talking to the other 2, he puts a pistol to the back of my head. And then when he puts the pistol to the back of my head, he's like, you know, give me all you got. And I was like, I got $20, buddy. That's all I got right now. And I guess they knew who I was because I would usually come by, you know, quarter pound and stuff like that. But all I wanted that night was $20 worth. That's it.
Wow.
So they actually thought I had more money. And they came, and the guy came in front of me. The other 2 stood next to me, and he just hit me across the face with the pistol. And he's like, "Give it up." I'm like, "Look, all I have is $20, and my car. So if y'all want that, y'all can have that, but I don't have anything else to give you."
Wow.
So they didn't believe me, so they started patting me down, made me get on my knees, and the guy put the pistol to my head, and the other guy that was standing next to him kept telling him to shoot me.
Oh my God.
He kept saying, "Shoot him, man, just shoot him." And I told him, "Bro, all I have is $20. Here's a 20, there's the car, go ahead, do your thing. I got a wife and 2 kids at home. You ain't gotta
You were
kill me."
gonna die?
You know, I usually have a knife or a gun on me, and that dad had
You had
nothing.
nothing.
So I'm like, I'm gonna die here like a punk, like a bustler. And then at that point I said, "God, I'm sorry for everything I've done. Please forgive me. I hope you have, I don't know, I hope you could find it within you to forgive me." And I said my piece, and I just told the guy, "Go ahead, do what you gotta do."
Wow.
And out of nowhere, the guy goes, "Get up. Just get up and get in your car and go. Don't look back."
Wow.
And
Wow. That's definitely a God thing.
yeah.
That you were actually able to walk away from that. So you get in your car, you're out of there, then what?
Then I go that Sunday. My wife already had been going to church. I wasn't going to church at the time. My daughter tells me to come to church with them that Sunday as they're getting ready. And I was like, what the heck? I'll go to church. So I went, and Pastor Carlos was preaching on pride that day.
Wow.
And as you know, man in the Hispanic culture, pride is a very big thing.
Oh, it's
So-
huge.
So he preached that message, and it was piercing my heart because in my heart, I really wanted to get these guys because I actually found out who they were because I knew people in the area, and I wanted to do the most evilest thing. I didn't want to kill them. I wanted to kidnap them, and I wanted to carve them and do evil stuff.
Wow,
And
torture.
yeah, but at that point, as I'm sitting with my friends and they're telling me who it is, and we're getting high. And I hear, don't do it. It's not gonna go how you think it's gonna go. And I think at that, it kept running through my head. And then Sunday, that's when my daughter invites me to church with them. I go, PC preaches on the message, and it pierces my heart.
Wow.
So I go. They call the altar call. So I go to the altar call, and yeah, I gave my life to Jesus and whatnot. Whatever. Yeah, I'm sorry. And then at that time, they used to pull us to a back room whenever you did that, confession. And they would ask, do you know what you just did?
Right.
Do you understand what you're doing? And Pastor Keith was the one that came up to me. And I was so...
It's okay.
I was just so grateful.
That's so good.
And he asked me, do you know what God did? You know what you just did? And I said, yeah. And I said, but I want God to show himself to me. If he shows himself to me, I'll give him 100%. If he doesn't, then I'm going to be the most evil person in the world. But if he shows himself to me, I'm 100% in.
Wow.
And he tells me, with his laugh that he does, he's going to show himself to me. And I
Amen.
was like, hey, if he doesn't, all right, I'm in. If he doesn't, then I'm all in too for the world.
Wow.
About 2 weeks after that, 3 weeks after that,
Uh-huh.
I think I was on my way to work, and me and her that Sunday had an argument.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, and I said, you know what? Forget this. I'm not going to church no more.
Right. And I'm sure you said something else.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And I said, I'm not going to church anymore. I can't do this.
Wow.
This is it. I'm done. That night, I head out. I get in my truck. I got my ounce of weed. I got my blunts rolled up. I got a new pack of Newports. This is my routine. And I would stop and get me a cup of coffee. And get in the truck and we go. And as I'm on the highway, I get on the highway. I'm driving and I listen to this radio station. This is a talk radio station. And it's just this guy. And out of nowhere, a conversation of Jesus comes up in a station that has nothing to do with Jesus.
Wow.
You know? Yeah.
Since you wouldn't put the Christian radio station on.
Exactly.
That's
So-
awesome.
So this guy asks this lady on the phone, wouldn't you like to have lived in the time of Jesus to see what it was all really like, to see if it was really real? And the lady replies, no, I know he's real.
Amen.
And I know everything that happened is real. And as I'm driving, that happens, and then the radio just starts staticking. It's just staticking. And as it's staticking, I'm driving, but as I'm driving, I start seeing a vision. It's like I could see the road, but I could see a vision at the same time.
Wow.
God only knows how that happens because I was just driving and I saw a vision of my dad and my mom. And I see my dad like going like this and talking to my mom, yelling at my mom, and my mom crying and crying. And I remember that about my mom. She used to cry, and she used to always come to me with the burdens. So as that's happening,
Mm.
He shows me a vision of my wife and me.
Mm.
And I'm yelling at her the same way.
Mm.
The same exact thing. Except she's on the bed, just thrown out, just, depressed.
Mm.
I see pill bottles on, like what in the vision that I'm seeing, her on the bed, the nightstand pills, and the Lord tells me the same thing that your father did to your mom. It's the same thing you're doing to your wife.
Wow.
So it was a generational thing that was passing down. Even though I despised what my dad used to do to my mom,
Right.
I was doing it. I did. My dad used to get verbally, but also physical sometimes. I never got physical, but I got verbally.
And sometimes, to be honest with you, that can hurt more than even a punch in the face. Well, I mean, that gets, you get hit, but those words are inside of you, and it's so hard to heal from that emotional.
When I started reading the word, and I think it's in Proverbs, life and death is in the tongue. And that's a real thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's the real thing.
Absolutely.
So that happens, and then the other thing the Lord tells me is that, and your brothers are going in the exact same path. And so that right there, I just started weeping because of what I was seeing and what the Lord was revealing to me that I was doing. And so I started weeping and weeping and weeping, and as I'm weeping, I just start feeling like I gotta spit. And I had already smoked my blunt and all of that, and cigarette. And so I start spitting out the window. But so much starts coming up that I can't get it out the window. So I just start, as I'm driving, I just start spitting on the floor, and it just starts, from that point on, it just starts coming, but it's not vomit, it's just like phlegm. And it's phlegm. And then all of a sudden, my feet start getting hot. And I'm like, wow, my feet are burning. And then it starts coming up my legs, and then when it hits my thighs, it just consumes me. It's like this. I feel this fire all over my body, and as I feel the fire all over my body, I'm driving.
Wow.
And I'm like this, holding the steering wheel.
You're driving on fire.
But literally, my hands went like this.
Wow.
And so I like my hands they turned in, and I'm holding on to the steering wheel somehow. But I'm on fire, and the fire is so intense. I start yelling because I'm on fire. I'm on fire.
Wow.
And all that will come out of my mouth. No, I'm sorry. Let me retract. In order for me to stop the phlegm, the Lord told me, throw out what you have in your pocket. And I threw out the ounce of weed. Wow. And then He said, throw out what's in your other pocket. And I threw out the pack of cigarettes.
You just gave it all to Him.
I threw it out, and then that's when the fire started.
Wow.
And then when the fire started, the only words that could come out of my mouth is Jesus.
Wow.
I couldn't speak anything else. I couldn't say anything else. I couldn't say I'm hot, I'm burning. All I could say is Jesus.
Wow.
Jesus. And I just started yelling out, Jesus, King of Kings, Lord of Lords,
wow.
King of Kings, Lord of Lords. And I couldn't control it. It was something that I couldn't control. It was just coming out. Like I had no control over it. But I'm yelling. We're talking right now, but I'm yelling.
So you're doing this,
yes.
You're on fire. Truly is like such a God thing.
Yeah.
It's such a God story. But I want to thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back in just a couple of seconds. So on our second segment, I actually wanted to bring Kuan Yin, which is the lovely wife of Louis. And I love this couple so much. But Louis, take us back to that point, and then I definitely want to hear your perspective, Kuan Yin. So you're in that truck, you're on fire, all this stuff comes out, you pull out to the sideway, and then
I call her to let her know what I just experienced. I was like, oh man, is this the Holy Spirit or what? So I call her, and as soon as I call her, she answers, and I go, hey, you want to believe what happened? And she goes, what? And as soon as she said what, the fire came back.
Oh my gosh.
And so
I started like screaming, like, ah!
I'm screaming, and she's on the phone like, what's going on? Like,
okay, so tell me what you're on the other side of the phone, and you're freaking out because he's saying fire, so you think he's literally like burning on fire. Well, what's going in your head?
So it's like 4 a.m.
Okay.
So when he calls me and he says, "Babe," and I say, "Hey," apparently that's when the fire started. He started confessing. Apparently it was so strong he had to confess. So he starts confessing.
Wow.
I've been doing this. I've been selling weed. I've been rather not selling, but I've been smoking weed and things that I'm just dumbfounded because I'm hearing him and I'm like, what? But he can't. He has no choice but to, because that's what it the Spirit literally led him to that. So he's confessing. And I said, and then he's telling me, I am hearing him screaming, I'm sorry, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He starts going. So it was showing him that. And then the whole thing with the prayers, his mom, she knew about God, and she prayed in her own way. But his grandma, that prayer, she is the prayer warrior of the family.
And I love her so much. I love that lady so much that I couldn't tell her no. But I would walk in the house high or drunk, and she was like, "Bobby, come over here, come over here." And I'm like, "Wow, Mom." I call her Mom. I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Come over here, sit over here with me." And I loved her so much that I wouldn't tell her no. She would read to me the Bible high and low, and she's reading to me, and I just couldn't tell her no. I couldn't tell her no.
Imagine, but he says he felt like air come into his mouth and fill his belly, because all I know is at that point he says he felt silence, and he says,
"Yeah, I couldn't hear any noise.
Yeah,
like everything was silent. I couldn't hear the truck. I couldn't hear the wind."
Okay, so take me back to, and we're probably gonna take a little longer here, but this is actually really awesome. So you're feeling the fire again.
Yeah.
Okay, you had already it wasn't throw up, it was something that was coming out.
Yeah.
And then now you feel something coming in.
Yeah, after that, then wind starts going in through my mouth, and my belly starts like filling up. And all I do is just, I get like this high out of nowhere.
That's what you want, huh?
Yes. Well, that's one thing that I said when I did. I said there is, because you know what it really was?
Awesome.
It was for the first time I experienced what love really was.
Wow.
Because I could touch myself and feel love.
Yep.
Wow.
That's what he
I would go like this, and I could feel love. I could feel love. And there's no sex.
Say it.
There's no drugs. There's not even your mother or your father. Your biological parents could give you that love that God could give. My parents loved me, but I've never experienced this kind of love.
So
It was just out of this world.
so good.
It was
Well,
out
so
of this
much.
world.
And I just want to say quickly that I believe that what God was doing was taking all that stuff, that evil, that demonic, all that stuff, all these spirits.
Yeah.
He was taking that out of you so that he can fill you with the right spirit.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
And so that's why you have a changed man.
It is. And
So
it's,
tell me about this changed man.
so, honestly, when all this whole thing happened, and I mean, after we hung up, because I really had to sit back and say, okay, what just occurred? Because so many times things have happened, nothing like this, and everything happens, but no, we went to church, and he gave his testimony, and I will never, ever, ever forget at church the day he gave his testimony, and PC showed, the crowd, and he did an altar call. He said, "This is your harvest," and I just remember that day, and he wasn't a perfect person, but he never went back. Never did he smoke a cigarette. Never did he smoke a blunt. Never did he do anything. And all of those things that were in the past.
That day.
That was the last day, and never again. And I remember that was in November that occurred. That December we had a Christmas party from OHA. And I remember PC, and I know it's in a video somewhere because someone was taping it. He was just hugging him. He tells me, he says, "This is the husband that you've always wanted. God has given you the husband that you've always wanted. You'll see." And it's been a process, but let me tell you, from that point forward, the first, I think it was like 8 years of marriage were hell, but I would do it all over again.
Wow.
To be where I'm at today.
That's powerful to even say that.
I would.
You've gone through a lot of stuff to say.
I would.
To get the man that I have today, I remember you telling us that and sharing that story.
I would do it
To
all
get
over
the man that I have today, I would do it all over again. It's almost like what a mom says. I went through this labor pain and it was so horrible, but to have this child, I would do it all over again.
Yeah, because I literally have the man that I want. I mean, my husband, one of the issues, like I said, was he wasn't emotional, he wasn't affectionate, and now, he's literally in, a vision, a mirror image of what Christ's love is. And he literally displays that to me and to the kids.
Wow.
He's never ever failed as a father ever, but even so much more. As a husband, as a son, as a brother, the man, the man of integrity that he is. I couldn't ask for a better man. I mean, I'm in awe of what God has done, and I could only wish that people could experience even just a fraction of what He has done. And it just reiterates to me. Sometimes you people wonder, is God real? Is this God is real?
Can you look at the camera and say
He's
that?
so real, and take it from me. I mean, I can tell you what I've been through, and another time I can tell you what I went through in my marriage. What from the drugs, from the selling, from the lack of affection, and to know that God in one instant, in the 2 hours of that encounter, changed my husband 360 degrees to the man that he is today, and never went back.
Ooh, so sad. That's awesome. I want to thank you guys so much for sharing the story. I know it's going to touch a lot of people. This is what this is about. Amen. When people say there is no God, it's God real, prove Him. Say what Lord said. If you're real, show yourself to me. And there it is. So He took you for your word.
And I didn't even know, like in Jeremiah 33:3, it says that He's like, call to me and I will answer you. So call to Him and He'll answer you.
Awesome. God bless.
God bless.